don't see myself as some kind of beleaguered minority individual that needs a special day. And that's really the theme of what I'm going to say. I mean, does everybody remember the Diet Coke advert? The guy, the window cleaner, took his kit off, the women all stop and wolf whistle. Do you remember the absolute tsunami of protest from various movements about how it sexually objectified men? Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Really? Because there was very little about it. And the same, so I don't know where you read it, because there was very little. And also, Cosmopolitan magazine, they used to, I mean, that journal of sexual emancipation, I actually used to write their monthly gynecology page, but I'll tell you about that another time. They had a male centrefold issue. Any complaints from the girls? It was something that was championed. So the point, and also, you know, I don't know when the last time was that you called a man honey or love, or all right, love, my friend's son's doing the tech stuff over there. Hello, Adam. I said, hello, love, how are you? I hope he didn't feel too objectified when I said that to him. I'm not being facetious, but the point that I'm making is, when it comes to when it comes to post-millennial feminism, it seems that there is one rule for men and one rule for women. Now, let me explain what I mean. There are key issues that I think affect all of us, or as a society we should protest against. They are societal concerns, even if they only affect women. So, female genital mutilation, sexual objectification of women particularly, domestic violence. These are the responsibility and concerns of all of us as a society. They are not simply a rescue project for militant women. I think it demeans horribly what these terrible issues are and what they represent. And if we make them just women's issues, then we denude them of what they really are about. And in fact, there is a growing number of women who feel that today's militant women's voice, and the tabloids often spell women I-M-I-N to sort of take the mickey out of it. I'm not doing that, but it doesn't speak in their name. So, you know, when people like me dare suggest that post-millennial feminism is outdated, it's irrelevant, the reaction from the sisterhood is decidedly unsisterly. I remember being on a debate on Newsnight about feminism with Mary Beard, whom I loved because when it was time to go into makeup, she didn't want to go into makeup. She said, no, I don't need it. And I had my moment to think, should I do the same? And I said, no, love, I'll have the time that she should have had. I had an extra 5 minutes in the chair. But when I talked about my views on feminism, being a non-feminist, not anti-feminist, non-feminist, I got some horrible tweets, including author Emma Kennedy, who said she'd like to kick me in the shins. Well, if that's sisterhood, I see women as losers and men as winners, because look how stupid it makes us all look when women react to other women espousing a view and having a voice that might not necessarily go along the line of traditional feminism. And I think possibly that some of this bitchiness, and it is bitchy, comes from the fact that a lot of the great battles of feminism, the suffrage movement, upon which the suffrage movement was founded, have been lost. Voting rights, equality in education. Girls now outperform boys at GCSE, and in further education, 20% more girls than boys make it to university. One of my kids is doing a medical course at university, doing dentistry, and most of the people on his course are girls, and hurrah for that. So, you know, that kind of undermines the whole issue of girls not getting opportunities. Now, I am university educated. I combine a career with being a homemaker. My alma mater, Manchester High School for Girls, was actually, amongst its alumni, was one of the Pankhurst, the suffragette, who was part of the suffragette movement. And, you know, we were told, aim high, go as high as you want to. You know, people think I must have had a charmed life. I came from a very modest family. I only went to a posh school because I won a scholarship. So what I lacked from advantage, I was taught through education that that's how I can make my way. Don't think of myself as you know, as the underdog or the, you know, the shrinking violet. Why is there therefore a paucity of women in high-profile jobs? You know, are they liberated by this so-called, you know, the emancipation of women, or is there a glass ceiling? And I think, and people might not like me for saying this, there are not a lot of women in high-profile jobs, either because they don't want to do them or because they can't. I would like to live in a society where meritocracy rules. So if 2 women and 2 men go for a job, may the best person get it, not because one of them's got a particular set of genitalia and another doesn't. It should be about who the best person is for the job. I mean, Erin Peasy said recently that feminism was ruining family life. because people think that somehow, you know, the two are mutually exclusive. And I think the other problem about feminism, which is why I think men are emerging as winners, not losers, and the feminists have this to blame, some of them, is that because all the great arguments have been won, and thank goodness won well, such as voting rights and opportunity in education, they spoil for arguments over stupid things, like campaigning for Jane Austen to be on a banknote. I couldn't care less if Mickey Mouse is on a banknote. What I do want is to make sure that I get as many banknotes as the male colleague who's doing the same job as me. That's what's important. But when you get feminists who argue about whether a man should pull back your chair because he's demeaning you, because he's showing some civility and courtesy, or because there are more men on banknotes than women, it means absolutely nothing. So what I think has been left, because these great battles have been won, is this kind of ugly vacuum where, you know, you just have the sisterhood who are spoiling for something to do and are looking for something to justify their existence. So I would just finish by saying, and I'm doing for time, I would finish by simply saying this. Biology didn't make us unequal, it just made us different. I don't think men are losers. I think it's a bizarre notion to even consider that. I think the sisterhood who don't support the women who have the temerity to argue against some of the things they represent make women losers.
Right, last sentence.
Pardon?
Last sentence.
And that's it. Have a nice day.